Let's talk about Bitcoin versus Ethereum versus Monero versus Litecoin versus Dogecoin. What are the differences in these different types of cryptocurrencies? And I guess we maybe we'll start with Bitcoin.
Yeah, no, definitely. Starting with Bitcoin, let's say like it's that all these coins are very similar in nature, so it's easier to compare each one. So let's say like Bitcoin versus Ethereum. Uh, the main core concept difference is like Bitcoin is a decentralized network meant for just payment processing. It's a payment system where you exchange coins. Ethereum builds on this, and they add another layer of, you know, apps, so decentralized applications. Um, this allows for the benefits of decentralization to be expanded on to, private exchanges where no one has control. So you can have exchange wallet in a way that you can exchange your coins with no risk. It's neat idea. They're still having trouble making a bunch of the apps, but hopefully in the future it can be expanded on.
So Bitcoin is used for buying and selling as well as being a store of value.
Yes, Bitcoin is exactly that. You can transfer it, receive it, and store it. That's a perfect way to describe it.
We've heard Elon Musk talking about the amount of energy required with the mining and trying to unlock other Bitcoins because there's obviously, I guess, a finite amount of those and the amount of energy required. And he was part of that was his justification for Tesla not accepting Bitcoin to buy their cars, which they had started to, and then he changed his mind and went back on that.
Yeah, no, that happened. That was a cool deal at first. My wallet definitely went up after he announced that. But his whole brand is the environmentally friendly idea, and then people start calling him out on it, like, "Hey, you're a environmentally friendly brand, and you're accepting this coin that takes the same energy output as Greenland. Like, why accept this?" And now he's looking at other avenues. He stopped accepting it. He's looking at making Dogecoin even more efficient, so they can start accepting that, which would be an awesome idea. It'd be fun, but we're still waiting on results for that.
So let's talk about Ethereum next, which is the second most popular crypto. What's the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum? And quite frankly, why should people care?
So again, the main difference between those two are the decentralization of the separation of just the payment processor, and then add another layer onto it for apps. So you can have tamper-proof applications that you have no one point of failure, and no one has complete authority over it. So let's say like you're using, it's just a ambitious one, but Google. Let's say there's decentralized Google. You have to worry about Google stealing your information, serving you ads, all that. Just be a decentralized platform where you use the app from your coins and you generate coins using them, and that's the currency of the app, which is pretty cool in theory.
So let's talk about Monero. What's the difference?
So Monero is a unique one. It has a bad reputation because it's currently being used by the black market greatly. But the reason they use it is because it's Bitcoin, but fully end-to-end encrypted. So it's nearly impossible for someone to trace the coins, because Bitcoin, you can think about it as, like, people praise Bitcoin as a privacy exchange of currencies. It is not. Everything is plain text. Everyone can see exactly what's happening. I can right now go down the list, enter your wallet address, and see every payment you ever made and received. Yeah, so Monero is very similar to Bitcoin, but the main difference is that it is encrypted. So let's say, like Bitcoin, you can see any transaction that's ever happened anytime. It is completely transparent in plain text. I can enter anyone's wallet address, see every single transaction they made or received ever since the inception of Bitcoin, which is kind of ironic because a lot of people think Bitcoin is this privacy-centered currency exchange when it really isn't. It's less privacy-oriented than cash. But that's why Monero was generated. So instead of being able to view everyone's transactional history, it is completely encrypted. The only people that can see their transactions are the people with the seed. So no one can view any transactions. It essentially searches the entire blockchain using your seed as an encryption key to determine what transactions are legit, what are yours, and then how much coin you have before allowing you to transfer it. So absolutely no one without that seed in theory, it can see your coin, can see your transactional history, which is a really neat idea. It kind of has a bad reputation because, for obvious reasons, it can be used for illicit activities like the black market, deep web, all that. But it has really true potential uses for like privacy community who don't want their coin to be tracked by companies and for other reasons.
So Litecoin obviously has more coins than Bitcoin. It's got 84 million outstanding, and then Bitcoin has 21 million, but it's got a faster transactional speed. So speak about that and the differences.
Those are all the differences. That's all I got. Should I just elaborate on it?
What does that mean? Tell us
Okay.
about that.
Yeah. So yeah, Litecoin is very similar to Bitcoin. It was actually just a fork of it and changed a few properties. But essentially, for Bitcoin, there's a limited amount of them that can be generated by miners, miners are basically people that make the Bitcoin network work. They use computers, devices, laptops, all that to run a mining program which processes transactions to verify them to make sure they're true and legit. And then they get an off chance reward of a Bitcoin. And there's a limit of this for obvious reasons. You want to make the currency a finite amount.
Yeah, scarcity creates value.
Yes, that's Bitcoin's so valuable now because we're reaching that limit soon. So Bitcoin has that limit of 21 million, or Litecoin has 84. So they just changed the properties of it to have more amount, but this also comes with the benefit of faster transaction speeds.
Let's talk about Dogecoin. Last summer, Elon Musk on his Twitter account had this meme, and it shows a little Doge dog, and there's like this giant dust storm coming over a city, and he had a label that said financial system. And so the metaphor or the meme was that Doge was going to overwhelm or overtake the financial system. So talk about Dogecoin and what the difference is between Litecoin, Ethereum, and the other ones.
Yeah, no, Doge is a funny coin. It's actually made by an experiment of a bunch of people on.
Well, it started out as a practical joke.
Yeah,
right?
It was a complete joke. And then when Bitcoin started getting traction again, people were like, whoa, we need to jump on this. They bought Dogecoin, they bought all the other coins, but Dogecoin jumped like 2,400%, which is hilarious. But the main difference between Bitcoin and Dogecoin is the limit, or just like similar to the last coin. Instead of having a limit, Dogecoin has 0. There's no limit. So there can be an infinite amount mined constantly. Like there's a limit monthly, I believe. I'm not sure about how the limit's proposed, but there's like a time-based
There's about
limit.
like what 5 billion new Doge a year are available to be mined, and that is to make up for people losing their passwords and not being able to recover it, and the expansion of the money supply of Doge. Let's talk about Doge. So Doge is kind of like a true fiat currency, meaning that there's always new supply being created every year. And as we know, money has 2 primary purposes, which is number 1, it's a medium of financial exchange. Number 2, it's a store of financial value. Scarcity creates the value. When you look at Bitcoin or Litecoin, they tend to have a real finite small value, but Doge is more of like our typical fiat currencies. I think there's like 128 billion Dogecoin out right now, and every year automatically 5 billion more Dogecoin gets created, and that's to account for people losing their phones or their wallets or their password and not being able to recover that. Plus, as people continue to use it and you have mass adoption, the money supply is going to need to increase. And so that was the intent by it increase. I think it was, like I said, about 5 billion a year. So you can talk a little bit about Doge and your familiarity with it.
Yeah, that's very true. A majority of Bitcoin is completely lost forever, unrecoverable. People losing their paper wallets, forgetting about it, throwing it away, throwing away their laptop, all that. There's literally people that now go to dumpsters looking for their old laptops to try and recover their billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. But Dogecoin accounts for this by allowing endless amount of Bitcoin compared to endless count of Dogecoin compared to Bitcoin or Litecoin or any other coins. It's infinite without limit. So it makes sure that there's always going to be a good supply of Dogecoin available to be circulated.
The way I look at the different, whether it's Bitcoin or Litecoin or Bitcoin Cash or Doge or Monero, when all the dust settles, I see there, and this is just my opinion, maybe 10 or 12 of the most popular digital currencies are going to kind of be the name brands that everybody recognizes and associates with buying and selling, just kind of like you got the US dollar, the euro, the yen, the peso, all these different currencies that the governments issue. You'll also have a group of currencies that are the ones that are the most popular that have been around. Like, at least at this point in time, Bitcoin is going to be the number one most recognizable cryptocurrency brand. But as they continue to work on these and change the programming and work with blockchain technology, there probably will be other ones that overtake it. More than likely, I mean, who knows where it'll be 20, 30 years from now. Bitcoin may be the gold standard. Litecoin may be the silver standard for cryptos, but it's also possible that both of them get replaced by other cryptocurrencies that either exist or have yet to be created that have a better utility, use less energy to mine, and just they work better. And so, based on utility and time and what people do with them, is going to determine which ones are the best. And that's why it's important. You have to pay attention to the markets. Just like if you invest in a stock, you have to pay attention to what that company does. You don't just invest in a stock and assume and pray and hope it's going to go up. And 20 years from now, you can sell it and make a bunch of money. You have to make sure that your fundamentals, the reason why you got in the trade or you got that particular currency, still exists, that the upside is still there, versus if things have dramatically changed. Like I was talking about earlier, I had several stocks in the last year where just the fundamentals of why I got into that trade in the first place were completely changed and were the opposite. So everything for the future was nothing but downside risk. And so even though I was losing my ass in those particular stocks, I got out of them because the fundamentals in the trade didn't work anymore.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. There are thousands of coins, a lot of them worthless. There's people, rebranded Bitcoin and other coins for the fun of it. But yeah, I definitely see in the future that, 10 or 5, whatever, predominantly coins that would be used mainly for different reasons. So, like, as I said earlier, there could be coins that are made for instant transition speeds to send the coin instantaneously. There could be coins that are stable, so they never change value. Those exist right now, and that's definitely a possibility.